Hello and welcome to the Daily Mill for Tuesday the 28th of February 2023. In today's Millwall news, it was match day today. And what a match it was. We went 2-0 up at Luton Town and we ended up drawing 2-2. Mill draw at Luton Town. This is from millwallfc.co.uk, the club's official website. Luton Town and Millwall drew 2-2 the Sky Bet Championship on Tuesday night. Goals from Zion Fleming and Tom Bradshaw put the Lions 2-0 up at Kenilworth Road, but Elijah Adebayo and Luke Berry struck to ensure a share of the spoils for the home side late on. Lions boss Gary made one change to his starting 11 for the trip to LU4 as Ryan Leonard making his 100th start for the club, placed the injured George Saville. Here we go again. What? Oh man, every game we play, we lose a player to injury. This is insane what's happening to us with all these injuries. But yeah, the team was announced and George Saville wasn't anywhere to be seen. Tom Bradshaw started in attack on his 150th appearance for the Lions, whilst Oliver Burke and Duncan Watmore returned to the bench after missing Saturday's trip to Stoke City. Just 4 minutes in, the Lions had the lead, yeah. After a long free kick was sent forward by George Long, the ball ended up at the feet of Fleming, who was able to fire home just inside the penalty area for his 12th goal of the campaign via a fumble from Luton goalkeeper Ethan Orthath. Yeah, basically he side-footed it without any power towards the goalkeeper, like kind of at his neck height. I don't know if the goalkeeper thought it was going to be harder than that because he just put his hands up and it hit his gloves and went over his gloves and into the goal. Following that early strike, both sides continued to probe for more, but the home side were failing to trouble Long. Jordan Clark's attempt, which sailed over, the only attempt of note. With 22 minutes on the clock, Clark forced Long into a save at his near post from a cross for Gabby Osho, directed a header wide. Murray Wallace sent a free kick straight into the arms of Orvath at the upper end, with Cody Drammer's cross then agonisingly going all the way across the penalty area and through a clutch of players as the half-time whistle began to approach. Clark was the first man to try and take the game by the horns early in the second half. As he twisted and turned inside the box, his effort was deflected behind. The ball then struck the crossbar for Elijah Adebayo's attempt was blocked in the follow-up on 52 minutes. The Lions had a second as George Honeyman was able to spring the offside track and square the ball to Bradshaw, who slotted home with ease to double the lead. 6 minutes later, Luton were back in it, however, as Adebayo tapped home at the back post following a ball which flashed across the face of goal. I believe George Honeyman saved it, knocked it onto the crossbar, it came down, hit the line, and was going towards, it was going out away from the goal, and then the guy came in and tapped it in. Fleming called an effort over straight after as Millwall looked to regain their 2-goal advantage. Before the Dutchman's delightful cross could not be finished off by a combination of Honeyman and James Shuckton as the hour mark came and went. Lennon's long throw was headed towards goal by Charlie Gressel, but was gathered by Orthath. With Fleming's shot on a turn then, perhaps a weaker option as Andreas Vogelsammer was lying in wait on the left-hand side. Options were brought off the bench in the latter stages, with George Evans and Sean Hutchinson coming on in an attempt to shore up the defence, while Scott Malone and Burke handed the Lions more power in attack. And it was the latter who met Danny McNamara across 5 minutes from time, but he couldn't generate the power to trouble Orthath. There were just 3 minutes to play though when the Hats found a level as substitute Berry Strike found the way past Long into the bottom corner. Yeah, and George Evans, what was he doing? Did this before and he got away with it. He's got the fresh legs. He's sitting in the middle and he's just backing off, and he's getting in the way of the defenders. And he's just 5 yards off the man on the ball, and he's got his hands behind his back, saying, "Go on, then have a shot." But you haven't closed him down. You're 5 yards away from him. And yeah, that was I'm guessing he was probably told don't give him any way silly free kicks because he is liable to do that. He likes getting stuck in, but still, I mean, come on. Yeah, it's a bit gutting that we drew that game late on. What can I say? Look, I'm gonna have to talk about the game. I'm not being an ingrate. Like, it's the shortest month of the year. We've had 7 games so far. We've done absolutely amazing so far. Every single game we've had, we losing players. Every single game there's an injured player, and we have to go again in the next game. And we're doing Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday, 3 weeks in a row. It's not easy, but when you go 2 goals up away at a playoff rival, you've got to make the changes straight away. What are you waiting for? Why are you keeping the attacking formation? The attacking formation has done its job. Now we've got to switch to defensive formation and do that job. And if we go down and have a look, there's the teams. I'm going to read them out later. But you can see, so we scored on 52, and then they scored on 58. He doesn't make the change until 72, bringing Evans on, and Hutchinson on for Bradshaw in 76. As soon as Bradshaw scored that second goal, those changes should have been made. And if Hutchinson can't do that many minutes from, what would that be, 40 minutes or so, fair enough. What you do, you bring Malone on for Vogelsammer, move Murray Wallace into the bill. You have a back three of Cooper, Murray Wallace, and Cresswell, and then you have the two wing backs as Malone and McNamara. And you do 5-3-2, not 5-4-1. You have the 2 up front because you want them to do the closing down. So you have the 3 in the middle would be at the time Shackleton, Leonard, and you move Honeyman in, and that's it. And we talk about how the players must be tired and all that, but you think the manager as well tired. He's probably not able to think straight. He doesn't realise the situation. You're 2 goals up at a playoff rival in a game that must not lose, and you're actually winning it by a 2-goal advantage. You've got a very good defence who are capable of defending very well, but the formation is set up to attack. So you've got to change the formation and do some things, and you've got to do it straight away. We got very lucky with the referee. I mean, Luton were trying to get a penalty after they went a goal down. They were trying all sorts of stuff. They weren't diving and rolling all over the pitch, but just in the penalty area they were calling for things and stuff. We got very lucky with that. The referee on it. In terms of they're saying the second goal was offside. They've said that on Sky, but then they backtracked and said, well, it needs to be obvious if it's a deflection. I don't know how. Like, they keep changing the rules, so I don't know. But yeah, I don't want to be seeming grateful. This is a great result. I mean, this was a must not lose game and we didn't lose it, but it feels like a loss because we were 2 goals up. But here's the thing, maybe this is like the silver lining on this is if we do get into the playoffs, if we do have to play maybe Luton again or another team, and we do go 2 goals up, maybe now this has happened, Gary out, okay, flick the switch and change the formation and set up to defend. Yeah. So yeah, the team was Long, Cooper, Wallace, McNamara, Cresswell, Leonard, Honeyman, Fleming, Shackleton, Vogelsammer, Bradshaw, and the subs were Watmore on for Leonard on the 88, Burke on for Fleming on the 83, Evans on for Shackleton 72, Malone on for Vogelsammer 83, and Hutchinson on for Bradshaw 76. And the unused subs were Birkowski and Essay. Cresswell got booked, and Fleming and Bradshaw scored the goals. And the crowd was 10,060, and 1,032 of those were Millwall fans, and they made a lot of noise. Came through very loud and clear on the Sky Sports television, so much so that the commentators, I think, a couple of times had to apologise for the swearing. So well done to everyone went there. And now, as you can see there, next up, it doesn't get any easier, does it? Norwich at home. Norwich at home, and more on that when we look at the table, how big a game that will be. And how many players are we going to have missing for that? Is it because Leonard had a bit of cramp and he had to go off? Is he going to be injured now? Like, what's the situation? We're losing a player a game, so who are we going to lose in this game? Takeaways from the southwarknews.co.uk. 12 for Fleming and 12 for Bradshaw Mills. Two top scorers are in fine form, even if their goals were somewhat fortuitous. To have two players in double digits already is fantastic for the club, who are often let down in the final third. That seems to be a thing of the past. Now certainly getting rewarded. The Lions will need them both fit and firing if they are to secure that top six finish. The defensive substitution conundrum. Here we go. So a riot brought on a number of defensive players towards the end of the game, and it ended up costing Millwall. They were pegged back late on and weren't able to respond as a result. One to learn from in the coming weeks, although their record late on has been exceptional otherwise. Yeah, well, I disagree with that. Defensive players coming on were way too late. You waited until we were 2-1 down. And then we've got to defend a 1-goal lead instead of a 2-goal lead. A heartbreak at the death. Mill don't concede late on. Today's result was a real sickener and not one that they will be used to, but any support would have napped your armour for a point ahead of tonight's game. Indeed, really have to take the positives in games like this. Yes, indeed. I would have taken a point. We'll see when we see at the table how many games Luton have drawn. But before we get to that, actually, you know what? Let's get to the table now. Right? So here we go. It basically remains as it was. We just both Mill and Luton gain on Norwich and Watford, and then the rest of the chasing pack by 1 point. We're both still on +8. Basically, it just stays as it was. The only thing, obviously, that was our game in hand that we had on everyone around us, and it's just given each team a point. Blackburn, maybe some good news. They beat Leicester in the FA Cup today, so if they have a decent, maybe an easy game in the next round, that could mess them up and they could drop out of the playoffs as they concentrate on trying to win the FA Cup. Because we know what that's like, because that kind of happened to us, didn't it, in 2004. So obviously, but now look, you can see Luton, they've drawn 12 games, which as you go up and down the table, you can see that's the second highest in the league. Rotherham have drawn 13 games, but you can see it's they're kind of the mirror to Luton, because Luton have won 14, drawn 12, and lost 8, where Rotherham have won 8, drawn 13, and lost 13. So they're a very hard team to beat. They've only lost 8 times out of 34 games this season, Luton. So they do like a draw, but to be 2 goals up and then to come back and get a draw against them is it's a bit of a sickener. But hey ho, now it doesn't get any easier. The players have got to dust themselves down. Lucky it's not that much far of a trip. But you've got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then we got to go on Saturday against 7th team Norwich, which they must have been well motivated because they haven't been had to play this midweek. Obviously the teams who are involved in the FA Cup are playing. Sheffield United playing Spurs tomorrow. Blackburn played today. In the league, it was Preston against Coventry, and they drew 0-0. So that was kind of good for us because that kept them away from us. And but now that means that Norwich will be motivated to win against Millwall at the Den, because doing so will mean them they go above us. They will go above us. They will be on 55 points and we will be on 54. So how do we do this one? Do we try and win this game? Do we try and get a draw? What kind of squad will be available? How many players will be injured, not injured? It's brutal, isn't it? It's absolutely brutal. But you've got to deal with the obstacles as they come. Maybe it's time to start Romain Esse. He doesn't have the stamina for a full 90 minutes, but hey, I'm sure they don't have any paperwork on Romain Esse. They don't have any scouting reports, so he's a bit of a dark horse, so they won't know what to do with him. So maybe it's time. Unleash him. let him play 60 minutes, and then maybe bring George Honeyman on for, or something. I don't know, but you can see here, so they're doing very well. Although we're doing very well, we've only lost one game in the last 6. So they've lost 2 in the last 6, but the last 4 they beat Cardiff at home, they beat Birmingham at home, they drew 0-0 at Wigan, they beat Norwich at home. So maybe all of their wins have been home games. Okay, maybe it isn't that bad. Maybe it isn't that bad. Yeah, but here you go, we're 5th. Yeah, and our game in hand, that was it. We got a point from it, and it's all gone now. We now have Sheffield United with a game in hand, West Brom with a game in hand, which if they win, that will take them to 1. And then that means they might be a threat if they win that. Other than that, not a lot going on. So we'll see, mate. We got to hope and wish that Blackburn get an easy draw in the next round of the FA Cup. That will distract them from the league. Obviously, they're going to miss a game then. So yeah. So that's the table. Now we go back to post-match comments from Gary Rowett. Just a one. There's not a lot written up from the Millwall press after this game yet. I think that they probably a bit. Again, they probably, when you're covering football games like this and the team scores a late goal, it kind of messes up the narrative that you're going to write, the story that you're going to write, because you kind of have a framework written down in your mind, the match events, and then you add the gaps in. So when there's a goal late on that interferes with that, you've probably got to rewrite all of your stuff. So we've just got this so far from LondonNewsOnline.com, Cadiz South London Press. Millwall boss admits that a point apiece was a fair reflection as Luton Town fight back to draw 2-2. Gary Rowett was disappointed after Millwall lost a 2-goal lead against Luton Town at Kenilworth Road, but admitted that the host probably deserved the point. Ryan Fleming fired the lines into the lead after Hearts goalkeeper Evan Borvath made a mess of the Dutchman's raspberry palm volley. We know all this. I'm not going to rehash all that stuff. Let's just get to the quotes. The Lions stay 5th in the table after picking up a point on the road as Rowett reflected on another big match. He said, "It's a championship. You don't get points easily at any away ground at any stage of the season. Obviously, it was a very good start and we went 1-0 up. It's a good strike from Zion, but the keeper, of course, he makes a mistake and we end up ahead. Maybe subconsciously, like we did against Stoke, the players just naturally sit back in a little bit. Their formation causes us 1 or 2 problems. I don't think they had too many clear-cut chances, but they did have a lot of the territory and a lot of balls in our box, and that we defended well. I said to the players at half-time, we have to use the ball better. We keep turning it over all the time, and that means it's easy for Luton to finish in. I actually thought for the first 15 or 20 minutes in the second half, we passed the ball a lot better and played with a lot more composure. We scored a very good goal. It was a good, bright play to create the goal, whether we deserved it or not. We 2-0 up away at Luton. It's a fabulous position to be in. You could see the goal coming over the course of the game for Luton. It's a poor goal for us to concede. We let the player just run off us. We didn't do our jobs properly. And they score a goal, and then the game settled down a little bit. The disappointment tonight really is again. I've had to take players off because of fatigue and feeling things. Brad has felt his calf, Shaq's felt his hamstring in the first half. I managed to get through it. We were going to keep Lenny on, but then you had to take him off because he was struggling a little bit towards the end. So we've had to make a few changes in the game that we probably wouldn't have done and weren't ideal. At that point, you're hoping we can see it out of back 5 like we have done so often. But we go a bit passive at the end for the goal, and that's a disappointment. Their player gets it on the edge of the box, turns and shoots. You've got 3 centre-backs on the pitch and you need to get out quicker. Well, George Evans was getting in their way, mate. He was literally standing 5 yards off and blocking, all getting in the way of the defenders, with his hands behind his back, saying, "Go on then, shoot." Because I've got my hands behind my back, so you're not going to hit my hand, and it's not going to be handball. Bradshaw was withdrawn 20 minutes ahead of time after bagging his 12th goal of the season. And Rowett admitted that the fixtures ahead played a part in his decision making. He added, "It's a difficult position to be in as a manager. I don't want to take Bradshaw off, but I've got to make sure he's got to go at the weekend. At about 65 minutes, he felt his calf tighten. I had to make that decision. We've got fresh bodies on the bench who have to come on and do a job. I think it's about 83, 84 minutes. We decided to change it to a 5-4-1. And at that point, it's really just about defending. So I don't think how many attackers you have on the pitch is going to have too much bearing in trying to see the game. It's really just whether you can defend. We did it well for more of the game. Just a couple of moments where they capitalised and they probably deserved the point. It's galling and it's disappointing as it is when you're 2-0 up. So yeah. So even there, he's saying the substitution that he made were forced because the players were injured. It's like, bro, you're 2-0 up. Change the fucking formation. Don't go 5-4-1. Go 5-3-2, and then you will have two forwards, and they will both interfere with one of the centre backs and one of the full backs. They can chase them down, and then they will stop them from passing it forward cleanly and clear-cuttedly. But yeah, what can you do? I mean, I'm disappointed tonight, but I'm happy overall. But again, I'm fearful now. How many players are going to be injured for Norwich? Oh man, it's getting real, isn't it? It's getting real. It's getting harder and harder. Each game that goes by, you get more and more injuries. And, we don't have the squad for that. We really don't have the squad for that. And on that note, thank you for watching, and goodbye.